excelling in our zone of genius, bringing the fullness of our expression and of ourselves into the world, and really excelling in that and daring to do so. Yeah, you might have heard of that famous quote that we're not afraid of what we can be, or the lowest point that we can reach, so to speak, or the smallest version of ourselves. We're not necessarily afraid of that. We're actually afraid of our potential and our magnificence. We're not so afraid of our incompetency or lack of ability. We're more afraid of what we actually can do. So this commitment really speaks to that really directly, and then it also has we have some more information as to what are some beliefs that block those upper limits. Yeah, and how can you really start to lean into this more fully? So excelling in your zone of genius. The commitment above the line sounds like this: I commit to expressing my full magnificence, and I commit to supporting and inspiring others to express their creativity and excel in their zone of genius, which might be different to mine. It's theirs. But I really commit to expressing my own zone of genius, to be my full, shinest, brightest star that I can possibly be. And I inspire others to do the same, and I support others in that endeavor, whatever that may be for them. The commitment below the line would be: I commit to holding myself back and not realizing my full potential by living in an area of incompetence, competence, or even excellence. And I'm going to explain it a little bit why we also put excellence in there. So the conscious leadership group has defined 4 zones of this piece. So competency or excellence or genius, if you will. And these are the 4 zones. So we have 1, incompetence; 2, competence; 3, excellence; and 4, genius. So the first zone is, what do you consistently do? You get negative feedback around. And what do you do that others can actually do better? So you do something consistently and with consistency that gives you get negative feedback on from others, and others can actually do that better. Now you know that you're in your zone of incompetence. Yeah. Which is not in your zone of genius, or not in your full expression. You might need to change something about what you're doing. Maybe a different career path. Maybe in another location, maybe there's something significant that needs to change here because you're in your zone of incompetence. Yeah. 2 is competence. What work do you do that others could do just as well or better? So you're kind of good at what you do. It's all fine. You know, you're doing it well enough. Let's say it like that. It's all good enough. But is it really, really desiring and bringing the most out of you into the world? No, not really, but it's kind of good enough. And others could do it as well, like to the same level as you can, or better, really. Yeah, so now we're incompetent. So here is also a good signpost, because this is the trap here, is that people are too comfortable. They're either too comfortable in life, or too comfortable in the situation that they're in, or too comfortable in the workplace, and too comfortable in themselves, really. There's not enough motivation or drive for something else. And other limiting beliefs could be that, particularly in this zone, could be that you need to provide for the family. There's financial reasons as to why you have this job, or you're doing this particular thing. Yeah, so there might be other excuses that sort of come into play here as to why you stay in your zone of competence. And it's a big jump to go from incompetence to excellence. Yeah, we kind of go from competence is kind of going from really what do most people allow in their life, and what is really excellence, what is really possible. Yeah. So point 3, excellence. What do you do better than pretty much anyone else? So now you're really in your zone of excellence. You're really good at what you do, and you do it in an excellent way. You pay attention to detail. You do it with joy, fun, laughter. It feels easy. Yeah, you could do it in your sleep. And it's kind of something you almost can't stop talking or thinking about or doing. So you're kind of in the flow, yeah? And now we're kind of starting to go into genius a little bit as well. So let's touch on that. So genius, point 4, what work do you so love doing that it doesn't seem like doing work, or just like doing anything at all? You just so love doing it. A lot of artists experience this. So artists, musicians, a lot of sports people experience this kind of genius. You see someone when they're in their genius, it's almost like a part of you lights up because they express something that you feel in yourself that is alive. And it's a part of the universe almost that starts to come alive, and you can recognize that in another. Yeah. So genius is really, it's incredibly unique. It's incredibly authentic to you. And it's so in alignment with who you are and what you are about in the world that it's so effortless. You can literally do it in your sleep. Here you can really do it in your sleep, you know. And it's really, time and space stops. If you know about flow and the theory of flow, it's kind of being in that all of the time. So time and space stops, you're in the flow, you're in the zone, you're in your genius. And genius is really what we define as above the line. Yeah, excellence starts to move towards it already, and it's kind of not black and white. Yeah, but excellence starts to move towards it already, and competence and incompetence is just, it's kind of like, it's like, what's possible here? Yeah, let's move out of this maybe laziness or incompetency or insecurity or whatever it might be, and please reach out to us if you need any help with that or support with that, because we're really good at this specific piece in terms of really inquiring what are the specific beliefs that are really alive in your system that are not true for you, but maybe have been given to you by the environment, your caretakers, whomever was around you when you were about 3 to 7 years old, or anything along that age. And so what has you stay stuck in this sort of incompetency or competency space? Yeah, and really, how can we support you in moving beyond that, in really excelling in your zone of genius? And this is where Dan and I are really, really good at as well. And so we really invite you, if this is something you notice in your life, to bring this to the group calls, reach out to us personally, and because we really want to go into what are the specific thought patterns or strategies that you use to not actually step into this level of excellence or genius. So the upper limits are often defined as, like, what are some of the upper limits that we put upon ourselves? Yeah, they're not actually upper limits, but we place them on ourselves as a form of keeping us safe, seemingly, even though that's not actually true, but keeping us in some sort of safe zone. We don't excel to the level that we are able to. We only excel to the level in which we feel safe, generally speaking. We also don't go below to the level that we feel like we can do. Yeah, most people tend to not go below the level that they think they deserve or are able to do. They don't go below that. Yeah. So we only go above or below the level that we think we are sort of operating in. And maybe for most of you, that's kind of in level 2 and 3. Yeah. So we kind of tend to stay in that. And what are some of the limiting beliefs that keeps us in that? Yeah, that's what we're curious about. Whoa, and get curious for yourself. What is it that keeps you in that? Why not take the leap, take the jump? Yeah, why not do that? So some of the limiting beliefs that could be at play is feeling fundamentally flawed. This is a big one for a lot of people. Yeah, so feeling fundamentally flawed, like something is wrong, you don't deserve it in some way. Feeling fundamentally not good enough to actually play in your zone of genius, like you don't deserve it. Another limiting belief is disloyal to your roots. This could particularly be true for some of us that might have been raised in families with lower financial abundance, if you will, or in families where if you were to excel or be yourself, then that would kind of be looked down upon, or like, you stay humble kind of thing. Yeah. Or yeah, just stay normal. Stay normal and do what you're good at, and it's all good, kind of. So being disloyal to your roots. So that has a lot to do with family, how we're raised by our family or caretakers, and really not wanting to be disloyal to our family and caretakers. So really staying loyal to that. Another limiting belief could be more success equals more burden. This was a big one for me, that if I was to be more successful, that it would also equal more burden, more responsibility in a certain sense. Now, I do have to say, more success does mean more responsibility, but responsibility doesn't necessarily have to do with burden. Burden is something else entirely. Burden has to do with more heaviness, some things that could go wrong, all of those sort of things. So burden is really more of a quality of heaviness, or yeah, anything that might go wrong is not going to be, it's not going well in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. So that could be a limiting belief. Another limiting belief is very common for a lot of people is outshining. So the limiting belief that we might outshine other people. Again, this could be family members, this could be friends as well, this could be team members, this could be even our boss or the people that have hired us, so to speak, and let's stay below them at least, because otherwise it would be too much, right? So outshining and in a certain sense not really allowing us to really shine, because we might outshine other people and we don't want to upset other people, because we might lose connection or friendships or things like that. So that has really to do with a belief that we would lose connection, that if we are the truest version of ourselves, that we are too much for others in some way. So we outshine them. So these are just some limiting beliefs. There are more than these, but we have written down the few that really stand out for us and that we know is most common with most people. And really question, like healthily question for yourself, where are you in this? Are you in zone 1, 2, 3, or 4 in terms of your excelling in your zone of genius, excelling yourself creatively in the world? Where are you in this? And where are you maybe in certain areas of your life? So you can also distill this down into different areas of your life. Maybe in certain areas of your life you're quite like operating in your excellence or your genius, and in other areas you're just in your competence or incompetence. And also it's important to realize in work that you don't have to be good at everything. You can outsource things, particularly if you're feeling incompetent in that area. Well, hire someone that can do it better than you. That's really smart, so that they can operate in their level or in their zone of genius, and you can operate in your zone of genius. Win-win. Yeah, so when you look in organizations, you want to look for, can everyone work in their zone of genius? Can I, as a leader, really look for people that really love their work and really juice up about it? And it might be different for different people and different requirements for different people. Yeah, what we've seen, what we've done in our organization, when I'm as a woman, when I have my period, my monthly bleed, I tend to work really low, really like, maybe 3 to 4 hours, maybe less even, for about 3 days when I'm bleeding. It's simply not aligned with my natural energy to work more on those days. But because I actually take the time then to rest and just recoup and just really allow the natural process of the body to take place, I feel more alive and energized when I come out of that, and I actually feel like I work more in my zone of excellence and genius because I have the energy now. So there could be certain systems you set in place or certain planning for the team you set in place, and really ask what is really, and listen to the environment, what's really working here for other people and myself. The less you can operate by rules in your work or in your business, rules in terms of like this, it should be done like this, and this is how we've always done it for the last 30 years or whatever it has been. And the more you can operate on just listening and responding to the environment, so sensing and responding, the more you can accelerate and get the most out of yourself and your team. The same is true in family dynamics. If something is simply not true for a child, it's simply not true for a child to do it in that way or to be in that particular way. And how can you really work with the person, the child, the family member, the team member, to really allow them to really shine in their full expression in the world, and also that it fits the organization and the collective. You want to take all the pieces into consideration, of course. So there's a lot of dynamism that comes with that, a lot of flexibility that's required for this, which is super exciting. But what's really been also proven, we see this in organizations that are successful, are organizations that are more fluid and flexible in their rules and really focus more on what is really our highest intention here. Is it to have a set of rules that everyone needs to obey by, or is it to have everyone's truest expression of themselves come through this organization? And if that's the case, how can we really listen to every person and also to the organization as a whole? Yeah. To really allow this natural flow of energy to come through. And now also we go back to the last commitment. If if we practice gratitude and appreciation, we naturally have more energy in our system. Yeah. If we believe, whether it's as co-workers or as managers or as leaders or as anyone else in life, husband, wife, whatever it might be, if we believe that we are entitled to certain things, we lose energy. Entitled by whom? Entitled by what? Where did that come from? Yeah, so stay curious, stay open, enjoy, and yeah, again, reach out if you have any questions. Thank you.